Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on when you're watching. This is the Good Living Podcast, and I'm Cook Boy. Please like this video here or here. When you look around you, the people in the space that you're in right now, everybody has suffered some sort of psychological trauma. And in this part of the world, trauma is not a popular word. When you use it, people see you as weak. People think you're trying to be bougie. But this is the place where we are the most traumatized people in the world. Here, everybody's living on survival. Most people that you see going out hustling are just looking for their next meal or shelter or the basics. Anybody who is like living beyond survival and is actually flexing and enjoying life is looked upon with a different eye, because especially when the people around them are not. Trauma is an essential part of our growth as human beings, of character building. In this video, I'm going to show you how trauma can actually improve your life, how you can use the bad things that have happened to you to grow, and how that is the ingredient you need to take you further. Trauma originally means an injury that pierces the body. And at some point in the last century, Sigmund Freud coined it into a psychological term where he talks about damage to the psyche or to your mental health. And as life has progressed, as the world has become less and less violent, a lot of our damage now is no longer physical, it is mental. And the attention that we used to get for physical damage, we're not getting it for mental damage, not in this part of the world. So it is a big issue how we suffer trauma. But then you can recognize when something bad has happened to you. You might not get the proper treatment on hand for it in that moment, but you can recognize that this is traumatic, this is tragic. When that happens to you, it's probably an opportunity for you to elevate. I'll show you how. Post traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, is a very popular term and it is treated. It is focused upon by therapists and psychologists. However, there is post traumatic growth, which is the growth that can come out of trauma. I'll give you an example. There's a book called Man's Search for Meaning, written by Viktor Frankl. If you've read that book, reading. If you've read that book, you will have a small view of the life of Viktor Frankl. Viktor Frankl was a Jew living in Germany. I'll call it Nazi Germany. He had the chance to leave Germany when Hitler and his people were running riots, and he didn't. He had his wife, his brother, his father, and his mother, and they were all captured by the Nazis. His brother was murdered. His mom died of some sort of sickness. Imagine your mom dying after being captured and you're helpless to be able to save them, and you had the chance to flee with them, but you didn't. There's a reason why he didn't flee, and it's religious, but story for another day. His wife died. He lost his father from exhaustion. And then he was transferred between 4 concentration camps in 3 years. This is the suffering that this man went through. And after all of that, that is when he came out and began writing books and became one of the greatest psychologists in the 20th century. That is the life of Viktor Frankl after a traumatizing event. But he came out of that and became this that we all know. And even if this example is a bit extreme, in your own life, there have been rejections that you faced. You're expecting a job to come through, it didn't come. You failed JAM, and the disappointment that disappointing look you're going to get from the people around you, family, friends, whatever. Or the job that you're expecting, they told you with regret to inform you, or you got fired. Or even something deeper than that, like losing a loved one or losing a physical ability. Maybe you lost your leg or something. There is a chance for you to turn that into something positive. And here is how. This does not take away or dismiss the trauma or the event in itself. You can absorb and deal with your pain how you want to deal with it, as long as you're not worsening the situation or damaging yourself further. A study that was done asked trauma victims, people who have faced tragic events, if they could point out something positive that have come out of that. And at 70% of them could point out at least one positive thing that has come out of the tragic event that occurred in their lives. Which means anybody can find the positivity in the negative if they look for it. If you look for it, you will find it. One clear advantage of trauma is what they call the existential wake-up call. The existential wake-up call is big grammar for that feeling you get when something tragic happens to you or somebody close to you, and you're like, nothing did this life for. And you begin to think about your life and check stock and think of all the things that you are wasting time on when you could actually be doing the important things in your life. All the people you treat badly when you know that they are not here forever. That is the existential wake up call. That is one thing that can happen to you with trauma and then makes you a better person because it gives you the appreciation of life more and begins to let you value your time or inspires you to value your time better. There are certain men who get separated or women who get separated from their family at a young age. And by young age, I'm talking maybe in their 30s or 40s or whatever. And then as they grow older, maybe in their 50s and 60s, they begin to be desperate to bring their family together. For some reason, he has no other aim. He'll embarrass himself to go and look for his children and they will chase him away, but he will not go. He will still come back. And perhaps he's had a friend who just dropped dead, or he himself has suffered some sort of sickness, or he's looking at death in the face in a couple of months or a couple of years, and he's thinking, what have I been doing, wasting my time, having my family in all these different places, when I can bring them together. And actually, everybody's dream is to die in their deathbed, surrounded by friends and family and people that they love. Because one of the greatest factors of long life is deep connections and strong relationships. And you don't just build that in one day, you build that over time so that at your deathbed, you can have those people and die with a satisfied heart. That is everything that matters. The wealth, even the wealthiest people that have died, did not care about how much they made on their deathbed. They cared about the people that they formed strong connections with. There are two types of people. The people who trauma breaks and they go downhill from there, and until they die, they never really recover from that one tragic event. And the people who elevate after recovering from that tragic event. And it is a weak mindset that can impede this growth and cause you to be this kind of person on the left. This kind of person has a certain mindset. To build a strong mindset is simply to do two things. One, to strengthen your mind by imagining the traumatic or tragic event. We all know the things that we fear might happen to us or happen to people close to us. All the tragic things that you fear. Imagine those situations happening. Prepare yourself psychologically and mentally for that moment. If it's you losing a loved one, if it's you losing your job, your kid, whatever it is, imagine yourself in that situation. What would you do? How would you handle it? And think of that situation coming and think of yourself taking charge of it. Not preventing it though. Let it happen in your head and see how you can come back from that. Don't shy away from the thought. And then when that happens, you prepare yourself mentally. What that does is that one, when it actually happens, you suffer less from the trauma. The way other people who are clueless about it would suffer from the shock. Oh, I never expected it. You will not suffer like that. Which leads me to the second one. Break the bias. The bias that every traumatic thing is more likely to happen to other people than you. The thing is that you are other people to everybody else. And so every traumatic thing is more likely to happen to you than everybody else in their own mind. So when you understand that, you realize that you are not safe from any bad thing happening. And then you appreciate more the life that you're living now, the safety that you enjoy in this current moment in time. You would appreciate it better. And then when the trauma finally comes, and it will in the future, it might not be a huge one, but some sort of thing that shifts your comfort would eventually come in the future, but you'll be prepared for it. And you're prepared to be there for the people who are around you, who are suffering more from it, because you have prepared mentally for it. And that will just propagate you into greater heights, wherever it is that happens to you. You have this mindset, you will most likely be better than you were before that tragedy, character-wise. One final piece is that you can stand in a Dionysian relationship to existence. This is something that was coined by Friedrich Nietzsche. He's another psychologist. Friedrich Nietzsche said you should stand in a Dionysian relationship to existence. How he got this term was from the Greek god Dionysus. Dionysus is a god, son of Zeus, who was a very flamboyant god. He was beautiful, he was charming, and he was shiny. And then the other gods were jealous. All the other of Zeus's children were jealous of him, and they kidnapped him and they cut him up into small pieces. And Dionysus was done. But then Zeus took mercy upon him and found, what have you people done to my son? And then he began to put Dionysus back together. And Dionysus got back together and got all his body parts back together and became bigger, stronger, shinier than ever before. And so if you understand that the awareness that you can stand in a Dionysian relationship to existence, which means nothing can break you. There have been things that I've been through. I've suffered addictions that have nearly taken my life. A gambling addiction that doesn't allow you to even retain 1 naira. I would make money and then I'm straight off to a bet shop to go and lose all of it. But I came back from that stronger. It has built my character in ways that I cannot even say in words. So when you stand in a Dionysian relationship to existence, you understand that every trauma, it is for you. and it is to grow you. It's an opportunity. And then one thing you can do is develop a love for your faith. Your faith is what is going to happen to you inevitably. And whatever happens to you was going to happen to you inevitably, regardless. It is nobody else's fault but yours. And if you develop a love for your faith, you will understand that everything is what you need. Every bad thing that happens is an opportunity for growth. Every good thing that happened to you is a result of your good deeds and your past investment and your decisions. And that way you say yes to life and all of it. And the idea of suicide will just escape your mind